A little late. Scott's got me overbooked. Blame it on Scott.
Man to man. Yep. Yes. Coach, what can we expect in the return game at Fordham this week? Still got some tough guards. Give us a game here. What can we expect going up there?
Well, I think we can expect the same thing in terms of the atmospheres that we've been seeing and dealing with. I think it'll be a lively crowd. I'm sure they'll be really excited as a program for the game. You know, in this league, when you go on the road, you got to be ready to compete at a high level, and you've got to be ready to take a punch and then punch back. I mean, it's not going to be a first-round knockout. So, watch the tape this weekend of the game. Last time they came down here, I thought our first half defense was very good. The second half, not as good, but a lot of it had to do with Fordham. They did a great job getting in the lane and making plays. So they start 4 guards. They've got a ton of perimeter players that can really score, so we got to do a good job on them.
Is Melvin pretty excited to play a game in his home borough?
He is. He's looking forward to it, but he's kind of tried to downplay it a little bit, but I know he's excited. I mean, anytime you get to go home and play close to home, I think that means a lot.
Talked about some of the large crowds you guys are facing on the road and a lot of sold out arenas. Is there a benefit for the guys that something down the road where playing in those environments will help them?
Well, I think the number one, it gives you an appreciation of the fact that people are going to be really excited about VCU coming to town. And I think that's really a credit to the guys that came before our current players and some of our older guys and what those former players and our older guys have done in creating a certain perception of VCU. But the flip side of it is you're going to have to deal with an incredible level of energy on the part of the home crowd and the home team feeding off of that. We saw that at UMass. We saw that at St. Louis. We saw that at St. Joe's. So that's something that our guys are becoming more and more aware of. There's been several games like that this year, going all the way back to the first road game of the year at UVA. So I do think it's good long-term, good learning experience.
You said they get aware, but is it something they get used to? Do you get callous of, okay, this is, where VCU plays in front of a sellout crowd basically every time they hit the floor. Do the nerves go away?
Well, I think the guys get better at it, get better at dealing with it. I remember last year when we went to St. Louis, we tried to prepare our guys for their crowd, but it was the first time that our players had been there. And I remember Melvin specifically was overwhelmed during the game. Now he was a freshman, but he was I asked him about it, going into the game this year up there, and he was much better and much more ready. I think our guys, I really think, I know we've lost the last 2 games, and we're certainly not happy about that. But I do think our guys have come out in both of these last 2 games and really dealt well with the atmosphere initially and not been fazed by it. At the same time, the other team still gains the energy that they're going to gain when 10,000 people are standing up waving towels. But that's just part of how it is, and we benefit from that here. So you can't have it both ways.
Hey, Coach, with the exception of Puerto Rico to start the season, this is kind of maybe the first bit of adversity you guys have hit here these last 3 or 4. Do you like how the team is kind of dealing with it so far as you?
Well, there's some coaches that really like adversity and really like, I've had coaches tell me that they like having like a mini crisis on their team because it creates growth. So for us, especially these last few days coming off of the UMass game, think there has been a lot of self-reflection. I think there's been a lot of watching tape. I know there's been a lot of watching tape, and there's been a lot of discussion among the guys on our team about what we need to do better. The reality is, in the stretch you mentioned, when we played 4 top 40 RPI teams, 3 of them on the road, and we didn't get the road games done. We didn't take care of business on the road. At the same time, we were in all those games with a chance to win at the end. So I don't think it's a situation where we have to rewrite our entire plan and scrap everything we do. I think it's a situation where we need to do certain things that we do better, and particularly on the defensive end, there's a few things that we can tighten up, and we will tighten up.
How much input, going back to April and May, how much input do coaches and or schools have in the layout of the conference schedule? It just seems to me like you've been playing a lot of Thursday, Saturday. I know the schedule, but I can't imagine that as a coach, any of you would be too thrilled with having that many of them on your schedule.
Well, that's because of TV.
Right.
And in answer to your question about input, the answer is none. The league does that, and that's the case for other schools, at least as far as I know. You hear stories, like when I was in the ACC at Clemson, you hear stories of the Carolinas and the Dukes influencing the schedule, but I don't think that's really the case in our league. Here's the reality. The vast majority of our games in league play are on some type of national TV. So what happens with that is the TV now takes over control of the day and the time that the game is played. So last year we had more one-day turnarounds than anyone in the league, or as many as anyone in the league. This year, same thing. I don't think that's anyone picking on us. I just think we're on TV a lot, and that's what's going to happen these next 2 weeks, where we play Fordham on a Thursday, and then we turn around and play St. Louis on a Saturday, and then next week we play Richmond on a Thursday, and we turn around and play St. Bonaventure on our senior night on a Saturday. As a coach, if the other team has the exact same turnaround, it's fine. The tough thing is when the other team has a lot more time to prepare, and again, it just works out that way. When we play St. Bonnie, it's going to work out that way. They actually won't play for a whole week going into that game, and we'll just have the one day to prepare. But as I always say, and my college coach, Coach Brown, used to tell me it's too late to cancel. So we're gonna play, and we're gonna do the best we can.
Do you have to divide some of the extra day you have this week between preparation for Fordham and then a little bit of St. Louis? Or no?
That's tough because the last thing you want to do is focus on any game other than your next game. And hey, the reality is we lost our last 2 games, so we have an extreme hunger to win our next game, and our next game is at Fordham. So as it relates to our team, 100% of our energy will be on that game. Certainly our coaching staff, there'll be an assistant coach that's all about focusing on on the St. Louis game and getting himself prepared so that as soon as I get done talking to the media after the Fordham game, he and I and the rest of the staff can start working on the next one. But I think it would be a mistake with our team to focus on anything other than our next game.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to Troy at all?
Oh yeah, I talk to him almost every day.
How did he seem pretty excited? I imagine he was. What was his reaction to the whole Rockets thing?
Yeah, we were all really excited. I mean, he's worked really hard. I mean, he's a guy. I think he's a great example for our current players, and particularly our younger players. Of all the guys we've signed here, he has done the best job of buying into the plan unconditionally. There's 2 types of buy-in. There's conditional buy-in, and then there's unconditional buy-in. Conditional buy-in is, I'm going to follow the plan, and I'm with you, coach, as long as I'm playing the number of minutes I want to play and things are going well for me. And that's typically the case in college basketball. Unconditional buy-in is, I'm going to follow the plan, and I'm with you, Coach, no matter what. And that's hard. That's tough to find. And when you find kids like that, you want to hold on to them forever. Troy was like that. There was a lot of people telling Troy to transfer after his first year and then again after his second year, including family members. They'll deny it now, but and Troy and he's still like this to this day. He said, "I trust you, Coach." He called me about 6 weeks ago, and he had a really good offer to go overseas and make a lot of money. And he said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Let me think about it and get back to you." And I got back to him. I said, "Listen, man, you're playing your butt off in the D-League, and a lot of NBA teams are calling us. There's some buzz about you. Let's just keep going, and let's see what happens. I mean, you can always go to Europe in the future." And he said, "Okay, Coach, I trust you." And sometimes that's such a simple thing, but man, I mean, there's a lot of other guys that I've coached over the years that if they could have understood that, they would have become a lot better players.
Will you use any extra time on free throws this week, or is that just kind of, is there anything you can do about it at this point of the season?
Yeah, I mean, we always spend a lot of time on it, and like today, we have to take the day off because you got to take one day between Sunday and Saturday off, and we practiced yesterday. So we can't force our guys to do anything on the court today, but I got a feeling there's a lot of our guys that will be shooting free throws today. It's something that we work on. It's something that it's been up and down at times this season, but certainly when you go 10 for 22 in a game that down the stretch is a possession game, you look back and say, "Man, we could have used that one, or we could have used that one." Just got to keep working on it.
How much of that is mental? And can you overwork free throws? If I'm practicing and don't want to mess up, can you make yourself worse by thinking about it too much?
I think, yes. Well, first of all, unfortunately, there's a huge difference between going out there right now and shooting free throws in an empty arena and then doing it in a real game. Believe it or not, a guy like Javonte Reddick, this is going to sound strange, but what causes him to miss sometimes is actually coming from a good place and that he really cares. So sometimes we try to get him to care more about other things, but you've got to just let go and trust yourself and trust the process to shoot. That's easier said than done, but what we try to do is create situations in practice where there is at least some element of pressure. It might not be exactly like the game, but replicate that. Like one of the things we do with guys is they've got to make 9 or 10 out of 10 before they move on from that set of 10. So instead of saying, "Hey, just shoot 10 free throws," it's you got to make 9 or 10. And if you don't, then you do it again. Then you do it again. So at least there's a level of thinking, "Hey, I have to make these." But you're right. I mean, if you're so worried about it and you're so tight, that doesn't help either. That's why you see me when guys missing a game. Like my college coach, not the one that recruited me, but my second college coach, he used to say, when we missed free throws in practice, he would say, "Make your bleeping free throws." We would scream it really loud. And I would think, well, I'm not trying to miss. I mean, but so that wouldn't really help the situation, when he said that. So I promised myself if I was ever a coach, I'm not going to say that. So maybe in my head I might think it, but, guys are working at it, and I think it's something that free throws are going to win us some games down the stretch here. If they cost us a game or hurt us in a game like UMass, they're going to help us down the stretch.
Coach, the last time you guys played Fordham, 2 days later was the Richmond game. You got Fordham this week, 2 days later is the St. Louis game. Is this team kind of past the problem of the trap game? Have the guys kind of evolved, or is that still something you guys are kind of worried about potentially, maybe looking past the lower.
I don't think you ever feel like you're past that, and I think if you do, that's a mistake. I mean, everyone around our guys is certainly going to be talking about Saturday's game, and they've created, certainly they've earned, and they deserve that level of respect. But it's not our next game, so I don't think we need to overthink it. We need to focus on our next game again, particularly because we lost our last two on the road, and this is a game on the road. So it'll be, I think it'll be great to see what the maturity is of this team on Thursday, and it will be, I think, a good road test for us, and we should be extremely hungry. We are extremely hungry to go on the road and win.
Coach, how have the bigs responded to Terrence leaving the team? It's more opportunity for some guys, and it's more pressure for like a guy like Javante. How have they responded?
They've responded well. I don't think they feel a level of pressure. Javante's playing about the same as he played before. It's just Mo and Jared are playing a little bit more. Terrence really, he played a lot of certain games early in the year, but he wasn't playing a lot. In fact, those guys were going in the game before him anyway. So, to be honest, the way players are, they enjoy increased opportunity. I'm not saying that they're glad that he's gone, but they enjoy an opportunity to play more. And I'm really excited about those guys. Jared's a guy that, like Troy, in his first, really up to this point in his career, he has been way better in practice and at times one of our better players in practice, and we're continuing to work on him being able to carry that over. He's had games here and there when he's done that, but to be honest with you, with Troy, I think we got to the point where it was like 60 to 70% of what he did in practice we got him to do in the game, which was pretty good by the end. Now, obviously, he's doing more and more, which you like to see. So if we can continue moving Jared towards that, I think he can help us a lot more than people think. And then Mo, he's got a bright future. I mean, his thing is continuing to be aggressive and understand what he has, and then believing in himself.
Another big, we don't talk a lot about, Antravius. How's he progressing? We don't get to see him.
His body's really changed. There's a before and after picture of him in the weight room, which is, I think only Scott Day could rival it with the workout. But it's impressive what he and Roos have done with his body. He still has a ways to go with that. He's really worked hard, and he's developed an understanding that since I'm redshirting, I should always be the last guy to leave the gym after practice. And so I'm excited about him. He's got to continue to develop his body and get himself in the best type of shape he can be in. He's already become one of our better guys, scoring with his back to the basket. So I think that's something that'll serve him well. And he's a great teammate. I mean, the guys love him. He's a lot of fun to be around, which you always need more of those. Thank you. See you guys soon.